This video is hard to record. In it, I will share the story about how I went into contact with my malignant, covert, narcissistic husband, who I'd been with for 21 years. To do that, I will have to take you back in time. As I'm recording this in the end of June 2025, I have been in it. It has been, let's see, in a few weeks it will be 20 months since I took the decision to separate from him and to go no contact. Currently, I'm living under a protected identity and in safety, and I'm beginning to discover myself again. And now I have to go back into my memories, how it was to be that woman that he had broken down during so many years, and the internal struggles that I was going through. So I will bring you back in time to the summer of 2023. This is an image that I took together with my kids. It was after an argument with my husband. We had those frequently during the last year together. He had become angry and he had left us for a few days. And as I went for a stroll together with my kids, we were going to playground. Suddenly, I can't remember if it was my son or my daughter who looked into the grass and they saw these clovers and they had 4 leaves on them. And we just discovered them everywhere. So we each found a clover with 4 leaves. And then my son lost his, and then he found instead a clover with 5 leaves on it. And it was the first time in my life that I had found these 4-leaf clovers. You know, there is a story about if you find a clover with 4 leaves, then it means luck. And it felt, at that moment, it felt like a sign, because things were so chaotic in my personal life, in my marriage, and he had left us again for a few days, and I felt like a sign that me and the kids, we are going to be okay. So this was a hopeful moment, and I recorded it with a photo. I didn't take a lot of pictures, especially not of myself during this period. I had a struggle, both a struggle just to cope with all the demands that were put on me as a full-time working mother, and then with this man that was unstable and demanded that I do everything like a certain way. But also an internal struggle. I had begun during this period to resist his control of me as a way to survive, because I had sort of reached my limit when it came to what I could do. And I had been working full-time at this period, for 5 years. And I had had my license for a year and a half. I was working, as I said, full-time at a healthcare center. At the work, we did have some problems with the staff. A few of the doctors had quit. So that meant that there were more pressure on us, the ones that were remaining. And I did work a lot. Often I didn't have time for lunch. I would just very quickly, like 5 or 10 minutes, just eat something and continue working. And it was the same when I came home. I was constantly having some chores that needed to be done. And my husband wasn't supporting me at all. Instead, he was complaining about how I was falling short. Intimacy between us was lacking. So the nice version of him, at this point, it had stopped showing up. He still showed it while the kids were there, so I thought that he was like a devoted father, but that he didn't understand me. I knew that he had a narcissistic personality disorder, but I saw it from more of a clinical point of view, like something that could be handled, something that he really couldn't help. It was a diagnosis, even though he had not been diagnosed. This was something that I just believed for myself. And we didn't seem to, he couldn't understand why I couldn't do more, and he kept demanding, like putting more and more chores on my shoulders. And I'd always valued honesty, so I used to be very open and honest with him, even though, well, some part of myself I would cover because he didn't like them or couldn't understand them. But when he asked me a question, I would always be honest. But during this last year, our relationship became very volatile. He became very unstable. He threatened to harm me and the kids, or to harm himself. I didn't know, like, when he would blow up again. It was a constant pattern of, like, most of the time he was just displeased and wouldn't talk to me, or would be very short in the tone. But then there would be blow-ups, like as soon as I did something to irritate him, or I didn't, like if I said that I couldn't do something that would irritate him, he started to complain that I was overweight. And as I look back at these images, I feel that I look so worked out. Is that the word? I look so tired and worn. I was not overweight, but that was what he was kept complaining about. And while I worked, I was so tired that I would just eat something sweet to keep going. I started to sleep a lot. Like I went to bed at the same time as the kids, so that I wouldn't have to deal with him. It felt like my life was coming to a halt, or like it felt like destruction was approaching, like this is not sustainable, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to, like, tell the kids that we were going for a separation. That felt unthinkable. My husband also had me make a vow, like to God, swear to God that I would never divorce him. And I took that very seriously. So at this point, I didn't think about divorce, but I was sort of entertaining this thought that, well, perhaps we can not divorce, but we can separate so we can live at different locations, because that was sort of what we were doing anyway. A year and a half earlier, he had convinced me to buy a very expensive apartment, like in a posh area in another town, like on the other side of the country. And he would be there during sometimes weeks at a time, saying that he was renovating the apartment. He wasn't, he was just painting the walls. Buying furniture for himself. It was very weird. We did not have an open conversation. It wasn't, I couldn't talk to him. He would become irritated if I asked him about anything. He would blame me for like the situation. And if I told him that it is like I am doing too much, I want to decrease my work hours, then he would accuse me of being lazy. And like, why can't you make an effort for the family? It used to be that I was the breadwinner, and now it's up to you while I'm renovating this apartment. He had been unemployed for 10 years at this point. Before this, he was like an entrepreneur, and for the first years of his unemployment, I believed him when he said that I am like working on like an idea for a new business. And then it became, well, I'm putting it off because I want to support you when you are finishing your hospital rotations to become a licensed doctor. It was all very confusing, and it was so many lies that he told me. The summer of 2023, he also disappeared. He went on vacation by himself for a few weeks, and he didn't even tell the kids where he was going. They thought that he was in the other apartment. And I started to see through like the illusion of him being a loving father and him wanting the best for us. And I started to see more and more little instances or glimpses or things that would not fit. And I sort of collected those somewhere. I couldn't make sense of it. Like, why is he doing this? I thought, well, perhaps it's a crisis. Is he mentally ill? Is he depressed? Like, why would you go away and not tell the kids? It left me in a very awkward position. What else? Yes. So I also had begun to resist his control. And it was sort of like I put on this mask for him. So if he told me something, I would not disagree. I would listen and just say, I will try. But then I would not try if I felt that I can't do this, it's just ridiculous. And I would say, well, I haven't had time to do that yet, or make some excuse, but I wouldn't be honest. And when he questioned me what I had eaten because he was harassing me about my weight, I would lie. I had eaten sweets, and I wouldn't say, because then it would become an argument. So And when he told me, he insulted me, firstly I would at this point resist it in my mind. So I would in my mind just say to myself, well, he couldn't do what you're doing, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what he was seeing was that I was being very submissive to him and not challenging him. But on the inside, I was growing a resistance. In August this year, so a while after this image was taken, he started another argument, and I would not engage him in arguments at this point. So if he argued with me, I would leave the room and tell him, like, I don't want to fight. Let's talk about it when you have calmed down. But during this argument, he threw a ball at I left the room to go to bed, and then he took a porcelain bowl and threw it at the wall. And it, of course, made a large bang, and I got this panic reaction. It was my nervous system. I couldn't just take this tension. It felt like a threat, and it was a threat. When you start to, so, come. I just have to remove the cats. This is our new little cat. Her name is Brownie, but she's making some noise in here, so they have to go out. Oh. Let's see, where were I? Yeah, so during this argument, I became so stressed that I felt I can't live like this. And I told him, because I had been entertaining these thoughts about separation for a while, and I thought, well, he won't accept the divorce, but he doesn't seem to be that he wants to be with me anyway, so a separation could be an option that he would find acceptable as well. So I started to talk about it, but it ended very quickly with him taking a kitchen knife and going for my stomach with this blade. And I had to convince him that I didn't want the separation and that I loved him. And then he ended this attack. And then he told me that he wanted a divorce. But then a few days later, he just came home and pretended that nothing had happened. And that, this, I'm sure that he would have ended my life at that point if I had not managed to convince him that I didn't want a divorce. And then just coming back and pretending like nothing had happened. It's sort of, everything came to a halt, and I couldn't make sense of what was happening. I stopped writing. I had been writing manuscripts for years. That was a creative outlet for me. I couldn't do that, and I couldn't make sense of my life. And I also felt very terrified about, I came very close to not being here, and my kids were asleep in the room just one door away. And I felt numb. I just continued, like I had this routine going that was just, my life was rooted in a routine. I went to work, I worked, and at work I could sort of feel a bit more like myself, seeing my patients, talking to my colleagues, and then often my husband wasn't at home. When I picked up the kids, came home, fixed dinner, prepared his dinner, I put it on a plate, like in the fridge, so that he would eat when he came home. And then I just went to sleep. And I didn't see a solution. And this continued for almost 3 months. So in the beginning of November 2023, when he did something that made me see that, like, it made everything click. All those little instances that I had put in the back of my mind that didn't add up. Like, if you're a loving father, why would you go on vacation by yourself and not tell the kids? Why would you try to harm your wife or end her life with a kitchen knife when the kids are asleep next door? And then he told me that he loved us and we were very important to him. It didn't make any sense, but suddenly I saw that, like, he's making it on purpose and it's all an act. So he's just using me. He was controlling my money, he was taking my money, and when that day when everything clicked, so the next day I was able to leave. And so that was the topic for this video, but now you had to suffer through this extremely long introduction. So the thing that I wanted to tell you is how I went no contact, what happened, and what was I thinking at the time, and how did I deal with it. And I think this video will only be able to cover this first month. That was the most, like the hardest, but we'll see how far I will get. But to be able to explain that, I had to explain a bit about where I was mentally. So since we had 2 apartments, and like the one that I was living in with the kids and that he was visiting or living in some days, was a rental, and the other one was like I had a loan, so the apartment was in my name, but it was we owned that apartment. Because we had those 2 apartments, I was able to take the kids and leave. And I did that on the 5th of November. And I just packed, like I just told them that we're going swimming. But I also packed like extra clothes for us and our toothbrush. And we went to the like inside pool. And I told him that you need to get out of here. You need to leave this apartment. And when I did that, like when we were about to leave to go swimming, he didn't know where we were going. Then he yelled at us. It was very, very scary for the kids because he tried to make us come back, and he opened the balcony and just roared or yelled very loudly that and very, very aggressively that we were going to come back in, and we actually had to run to the next bus stop and just get on the bus. Then at that evening, I told my father that we were having problems, and I went to his house. And my husband tried to convince me, just come home. I will leave. Just come home and sleep at home this one night. I will be in the other room. You don't have to talk to me. But I think that he would have hurt me if I had gone back. And I knew that leaving one of these high control men is extremely dangerous. Like if you knew the story about Chris Watts, who murdered his wife and 2 kids. This was in the process of separation. And that's one of the more like famous stories. But there are many, many women who are hurt or murdered in the process of separation. But I felt that it's a trap. I can't go back. And I told him I'm not coming back until you're out. And the next day he didn't leave. So I actually have a journal from this period. And I will read to you from that journal. And you'll have to bear with me because I'm translating from Swedish. So I actually put in the journal, I put the numbers of the days that he has been gone. And I didn't talk, I didn't go no contact, but I'll get to it. So 6th of November, he books a flight and he goes to the other town, to the other apartment. And then I went to work that day. It was a Monday. And I worked all day and then picked the kids up and we went home. And I told them to wait outside of the apartment. And I opened the door and kept the door open while I checked it. And he wasn't there, so I went inside and I, after the kids had fallen asleep, I put a chair under the handle, door handle, so that if he would try to get back in, he wouldn't be able to open the door. And I did that every day, every night, while we were still in that apartment. And we would be in that apartment for the first 3 months after he left, because that's the time it took for me to arrange for us to move to another apartment. Okay, so day 2 since separation, 7th November, Tuesday. Many messages from him. They are helpful messages. He offering to help me. I did everything in my power for his sake, and the only thing I got told was that I wasn't enough. Evening the same day. When the kids call his phone, he is in the emergency room with one of those bags that you can throw up in. So he had went into the hospital, into the emergency, and he was pretending to be sick so that I will feel sorry for him. 8th of November, Wednesday, day 3. So before this, I didn't talk to him on the phone. I only communicated by text. And this day, the 8th of November, I just mentioned shortly in my journal, I block his card. So he had these Visa cards that were connected to my bank accounts. I had 2 bank accounts, and he would withdraw money or shop on those cards, like controlling the finances. He actually would argue with me if I would shop something from my own accounts. But on this day, I block his cards, and then I send a final mail. And this was an email that where I told him that, like, basically what had been, that I wanted to separate, and I did not want him to contact me if he wanted to say something regarding the kids. He could do so by email, and that he could see them when he wanted to, but he had to tell me in advance, and I would tell him if it was a suitable date for us, and that he could not come to my apartment, and if he did show up, I would call the police. So this is sort of no contact with boundaries. So my thinking was that my kids had cell phones that he could call, and then I would communicate by mail regarding the kids. That was my idea, but of course he tried to circumvent it. But I blocked him on my phone, so he couldn't message me or call me. 9th of November, Thursday, day 4. He did send a few mails yesterday and this morning, and then nothing since 10:30. I have went shopping, and I made it cozy in the kids' room. And I also bought, what's that name? I can't remember. But I bought some things for our home. Friday, 10th of November, day 5. I wrote him a harsh email to get him to leave me alone. So I wanted to show him that I was serious. So I wrote him an email where I basically bring up everything that he had done wrong to me and repeating that I was serious about separation. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sad. For 21 years, I had turned myself inside out to try to keep him in a good mood. And in the end, or was it like this always? I can't even get the kind word or tenderness. He yelled at me in the street here in this town because he thought I had become fat. It's such a relief to be without him. And it's so painful to realize that I have been used. Because of my love, he has run me empty without mercy. Thank God that he didn't break me, but that I have become stronger. Saturday, 11th of November, day 6. I'm a little scared of him, that he will show up, but I am stronger. This is time where I am standing up and pushing him off me from the chokehold he metaphorically has had on me. I want to move to another apartment, but first I need to save some money for possible double rent. Yeah, so this is just me planning for the move. Okay. Sunday, 12th of November, day 7. Today is our son's birthday and Father's Day. I must be mentally strong. He has been nagging that he should come to our son's birthday. He desperately wants to get control back. I have to be strong. If he shows up, no reaction in my face. I have to make him leave and, if necessary, call the police. The same evening, today I threw a birthday party for my son. So his friends came. I had bought him a Lego airplane that he had wished for. So my ex-husband called my son's phone that evening. He said, "Congratulations." And he talked about how he soon would come home and that we would arrange for another birthday party for our son when my ex-husband also is home. And then he asked, "What should Daddy buy you when he comes home?" And our son said, "Robux." After the call, so he basically bribed him, like, "What am I going to get you when I get home?" And then he could ask for a gift. So, of course, my son now wants his father to return home because then he will bring him this gift. Afterwards, our son asked me if we're still not friends and when is Daddy coming. I told him that Daddy can't come here right now. Right now, me and the kids are living here and their father will be living in the other town. My ex-husband is pretending that everything is as usual. Yesterday, 6 emails in the evening about him wanting to come to the birthday party, even though I said no. He is pretending that he didn't do anything wrong. He just wants us to return to how it was before. He's only arguing with me about, well, I'm accusing him of things, and he's only arguing with the things that he can, like, point at some detail that was not correct or that he can deny. And he says that I'm doing something horrible, not letting him come to his son's birthday party. "Do you want the kids to grow up without Dad?" he says. He is unbelievably manipulative. I can see that now clearly. At the same time, it takes all my power to resist and not slide back into my well-practiced role as a submissive wife. Never, never, never. I have done some things that I know that he would strongly dislike and become angry about, to show myself that I am now crossing the point of no return. I threw away his teacup, and I have not followed his rules about which card to shop for. He had these silly rules, like which card was for the groceries and which card was for other things. And I also shopped on credit. He wouldn't have liked that. And I blocked his cards, and I told my father, my best friend, and my boss what's happening. So that was also one of his rules, like you can't ever tell anyone what's happening between us and if we're having arguments. And I shopped a whole lot to myself, very selfishly. Pants, 2 shirts, some spa stuff. And I will send him his clothes by DHL. And I didn't pack it as he liked. So when I told him that I was sending his stuff, he asked me to pack it like in plastic bags, and didn't do that. At the same time as I'm feeling rebellious, I am feeling afraid. I'm afraid because he's so unpredictable, for his anger, because he despises the law and others' rules. I need to remember that this is the man who spit at me when I tried to leave him at a train station in Europe, and who hit me in the face, who threw a glass of water at me and threatened me with a wooden spoon. He is cruel and vengeful, but he is a parasite. He will attack when he sees a weakness, so I shall remain strong and firm. Help me, God. Tuesday, 14th of November, day 9. He sent a text to my best friend this morning, and he told her that he wanted to see her, but that she couldn't tell me. But she did tell me, and I asked her to just say that he can't see him. An hour ago, my ex-husband called our daughter, and he told her that he will never ever see her again if he is not allowed to come home to us. Your mother is a very bad mother, he said. And this was the first time that I took the phone from my kids. So when he wasn't able to reach me, and he started to do these manipulative tactics against them and become aggressive, I handled it by, I haven't had an ear open when he spoke to them, and I would go into the room and I would take the phone. It was on FaceTime. I wouldn't show him my face. I would do like that, and I tell him, so this is the name of our daughter's phone. You are calling to speak to her, and if you are beginning to threaten or say bad stuff, I will end the call. And then I clicked it. So, and then I took away the phone, and then like he could try the next day, and if he behaved, he could talk to them. But if he would start these manipulative tactics, I would take the phone again and just very neutral say that, like, this is our son's phone, and if you want to speak to him, you have to be polite. Otherwise, I will end the call. And then I clicked it. And this was to protect my kids from his manipulation and anger and threats. And because it was very confusing for them. They had not seen that side of him before. And they were too young to be able to cope with it. And it's wrong to talk like that to children. So I did allow him to speak with them, but only if he didn't start to involve them in these like grown-up issues. And then, so I also started, because I put some distance between myself and him, I also started to see how fast he switched between the different methods. So he just called our daughter and told her this aggressive stuff. And then he sent me an email. So a little while ago, he sent an email, and it was a pretty mail. And it was about how much he loved me and that he can't understand why I'm doing this. And he asked me, am I perhaps getting burned out? Is that the reason why I'm acting this way? Has he ever done anything to hurt me? Or has I ever asked for something that he have not done? Is what he's writing in the mail. Still, he has no ability to self-reflect. He has not given me an apology. He does not take responsibility for his own role, and he is not promising to change. And behind it all is the same old superiority. Today, I told my mother and my supervisor at the work about a divorce or separation. Thursday, 16th of November, day 11. Let's see, these are some practical stuff. And I just write the practical stuff and then just one note. I'm so angry and sad. Sunday, 9th of November, day 14, night. I loved him so much, and I still have tenderness and love for him. Why couldn't he even have basic care for me? Now he's saying anything that he thinks I want to hear to get me back. Anything except for self-reflection. It's night and I can't sleep. I read some of the emails he has sent. Why did I do that? I have kicked him out for very good reason. Tuesday, 21st of November, 2023. He's sending me cute emails about how much he loves me and about how he will do anything that I wish. At the same time as he's writing that the things that I'm complaining about is not true. He's painting himself out to be a victim. In only 2 weeks, the atmosphere in our home has drastically changed to the better. I am calmer and more relaxed and happier. I can relax. The weekends are suddenly nice and a haven. Before, work used to be my safe haven. Evening the same day. One day for many years ago, I went through the process of releasing the grip of my mother and trying to rescue her. Now I have to go through the same procedure of letting go of my husband. Why couldn't you love me? Why was there nothing there for me after all my efforts and sacrifice? I stopped telling you what I thought or what I felt because it was of no interest to you. What you call a dialogue is just your own long monologue. When you saw that I was vulnerable, you stepped on me because, why? You left me alone with the kids so many days and nights without asking me how things went. I tricked myself to see love in your eyes and in your actions because I so much wanted to see it. And I didn't listen when you told me how it really was. And I'm referring to what he would say to me during the arguments or when he was angry. I can't save you. I can't do anything more. I'm sorry, but I'm now moving on and I'm choosing me. I am thanking myself for choosing myself. Wednesday, 22nd of November, day 17. He seldom listens to me, but he accuses me of having bad character. You like to get other people involved between us. You have bad patience. You should know better. You're a doctor. You wanted to have it easy. You want to have things easy and you give up when things get hard. That's why you have to keep your weight, he says to me when my clothes no longer fit. When he threw a plate in our living room and refused to listen to me when I told him that I had become scared. When I was at my most vulnerable with 2 little kids, he disappeared abroad. On the tram, I'm referring to when one day where we were going on a picnic together as a family, he sent some message for some girl in English. all the times that I longed for support or encouragement, and I was given something like a put down or a rejection. Evening. I miss him, the feeling of safety and something I know very well. I am sad that my kids that they don't have their father. I wanted so much for our relationship to work. But I went into this relationship with the attitude that I would do my everything and to put his needs before mine. But he did not have the same attitude. He allowed me he happily allowed me to sacrifice myself, to struggle on alone, and he put himself in a position of judging me, bringing hard criticism or comments, point to the things that I had not had the energy to finish. He was so unforgiving and not understanding. That's your work. That's your job. You're a person who gives up easily, he told me. Thursday, 23rd of November, day 18. I went to massage today. That felt good. Our son talked for a long while with his father that evening. Today I'm feeling grief over how little love I have been given and how little love and concern I have settled for. Saturday, 25th of November, day 20. Yesterday my ex-husband asked me to return the money that he sent me to buy a car. So this is just another manipulation. He sent me a sum of money, and he told me that you can buy a car. And when I didn't take him back, then he asked for the money back. I sent them back to him without a word, and that was. I returned the money as a statement. I have gained an enormous amount of weight. Is it because I'm feeling bad or because my body is protesting? For the first time in many years, I'm looking forward to the weekends to be able to relax at home. And I realize how tense and unhappy I have been. Sunday, 26th of November, day 21. I bought winter boots to the kids today. It went well. It's the first time that I'm doing it myself. I haven't heard a sound from my ex-husband since I sent him the money back. I talked to my mother this morning, and she told me that my ex-husband contacted her once, and he was crying, and he talked about ending his own life, and he talked about the fact that I was going to die in an accident or a disease. She said it was a very disturbing call. And she also said that he was trying to put words into her mouth. Monday, 27th of November, day 2022. He sent me mail today and wrote me, "Thank you for the money." He called me his flower, and he asked me to send his greetings to our son and our daughter from their dad, and he called me his wife. I didn't respond. I'm so sad. Who am I? Who am I? I had turned myself in and out so much that I no longer know who of all the pieces is me. I loved him. I worked full time for him. I never asked him or questioned him about what he did. I was grateful. I tried not to complain. Nothing was enough. Never could he hold me, kiss me, love me, hold my hand, ask for my thoughts, listen. I did not feel like a human in his presence. Tuesday, 28th of November, day 23. I have a hard time accepting that I did not manage to get him to love me or even feel compassion for me when I loved him so much and I felt so much compassion for him. As I told him one time when we had an argument, after the bus rammed us, me and the kids, that is. I talked about this in another video. It was like a bus who just rammed the side mirror and no one was hurt. But I was very shaken afterwards. And he came home and yelled at me and I was crying. And I think it was then that I asked God to make me strong and to help me to do what my husband asked me. And I told my husband that was what I was praying for. That evening I was so sad and I told him something like, how can it be me who takes care of home and kids and work day after day, but I am not, I have not earned even a little word of gentleness or tenderness from you. And that made him angry. I went away crying to the bedroom. Yeah. That must have been in April. That time, I think I told my friend. Or was it a few weeks later? Everything is just meshed up, or I can't remember clearly. So this is the end. After that, I didn't write anything for a few months. And I just kept keeping things together. He saw his kids a total of, I think it was one time in December, one time in January, one time in February. And each time I brought someone with me and we met, I brought the kids to play Funland, and they met him there, and afterwards I picked him up, but I had a relative with me, so I didn't meet him alone. And basically the contact continued. We moved in the beginning of February to another apartment, and when I got there and was finally in a place where he could not enter, I just collapsed, and I continued to try to go to work, and I had migraines that didn't go away with medication, and eventually my boss told me, you need to go home and you need to go on sick leave. You are burning out. Let's see. And the next journal entry is actually from March 2024. I can just read that, and perhaps that will be enough for now. And at this point, he had not seen the kids for a month. That last time he saw them ended with him walking away in anger because I wouldn't speak with him. And during this time, I was still paying for his apartment. And I think around this time in the spring, I was getting a lawyer to sort that out. Wednesday, 20th of March 2024. I have broken myself free from the tormenting situation he held me in. But still connecting us is the apartment in Gothenburg and the kids. I have moved to an apartment more closer to the city center. I got myself a car and a cat, and I arranged proper rooms for the kids. But my energy comes sometimes, but if I am doing anything with that energy, it leaves me drained for several days. I don't know what I want. I am feeling locked. I realize how submissive, fooled I've been. I am feeling grief, shame, anger, and what's that word in English? Like nothing matters. Everything is a mess. Sometimes I think about God, and it's also a mess. I'm afraid of getting tricked again and for not being forgiven, and I'm feeling shame for getting myself into this situation. I haven't been writing in months because I don't know what to write. I don't know what has happened or what is happening or what I want or what is right. But in spite of all, even if everything is being shaken, I am free now, and I will stand up and I will resolve things and mature, learn and move on. Yesterday I looked through my computer at all my manuscripts. They are good, but perhaps it was never meant to be that I would be a published author as long as I was with him. Thank God it's over. And then I just put in this little hopeful, like I was feeling very tired and very confused, and he was still contacting me. And as the month progressed, that contact would become more intrusive and more threatening, and it ends with me in the end of May calling the police and reporting it. And then things happen very quickly. I got a restraining order. I moved. The first 5 weeks, I was just living with different family members in different parts of the country until I got myself an apartment, and that was the beginning of July 2024. And I moved with my kids to under this new name, and I chose the name Emma. We have a secret last name, and I was beginning to prepare for a new life. But then he continued to stalk us, so that's why we have been moving twice more after that. So it has been a tough period, but if I compare who I am now and like beginning to become a whole person, it is so, I was so broken down. It's hard to see when you are at that place. But when I go back through my journals, it's very painful to be reminded about how broken down I was. And the episode that I'm referring to when I did go to buy myself some clothes, because I was using the same pair of pants, and I think I had one shirt. And my husband just told me that, well, you gained weight, so that's why your clothes are not fitting you. And that was, well, I was still like, as you saw in the picture that I showed you first. But compared with when I was much younger, yes, I had gained a few kilos, but I wasn't fat. But he made me feel so unworthy, and I really felt like I had no right to make any demands, and I felt ashamed of myself for not being able to be more than human. Okay, so this was just a summary of how my mental state was when I did go no contact, and I think it showed a bit as well about how he reached out and tried to manipulate in different ways, trying to pretend that he was sick, as in the hospital, trying to bribe the kids into asking me when he would come home, and there were many incidences that I didn't write down as well, but I saved them in the emails. And I don't know who he was. Like, I don't know what was fake and what was real, what was a theater. Perhaps it was, everything was a theater. He could switch between the anger or crying or trying to guilt me. It was confusing, a very confusing experience. But it was very worth it to go no contact. It made this connection with him start to fade, but it took a long time. Okay, thank you very much for listening to this video. Let me know what you think. If there is something that you would want me to cover in another video, then you're welcome to write it. I hope this gave you some insights. Bye. Let's go back in time together. As I'm recording this in June 2025, I have been I am recording this video in the end of June 2025.